What's going on? Move the Mouse here, back in the town of Plainville, episode number 23 of our Let's Play. And one of the things that I wanted to do was let the city run for a while. Just fast forward it, let a year go, and see how the budget ebbs and flows would actually round out in the long run. If you look at it, at a moment in time, your budget's in the red and it'll be in the green. And it does fluctuate up and down. It's kind of hard to maintain a consistent budget with different things in your city happening. So I did want to do that for today's episode. How I did it, though, was a very unconventional method. So when I last recorded, it was 2079 in game. And when I last recorded, apparently I turned off my recording software, but not my Xbox. And I let it run for 24 hours, unintentionally. And now it is 2119. So Plainville was already my oldest city in terms of in-game years. So it's a red house. I thought it was a fire breaking out that didn't have an icon yet. So 2079 was already my oldest city in game. I move on to other projects. So Plainville was already at a spot where it was older than any of the other cities that I built, certainly on console. And now it's way past that. So it's 2119. But unfortunately, there's not really any futuristic technology in the game, right? That would have been kind of cool to see buildings and styles change a little bit in the future, but it's still the Plainville that you know and love. I did round this out a little bit. I think this is a little smoother than probably last time you saw it. I think it was a rougher, it was more like that on both sides. But I think I smoothed that out quite a bit. It's nice to see a bunch of people taking that. So where are we at? Well, we've got a couple more $1 million in the bank. So we are making money. And like I said, even though the budget's in the red right now, negative 6,000, it's in the green more often than it's in the red. And you can see as it starts to trickle back. Oh, okay, never mind. It's trickling back in the wrong direction. But it will kind of even out. So the good thing is the city is profitable in the state that we're in at around 50,000 people. So I wasn't trying to build a big city. Honestly, though, this is way more than 50,000 people that live here. At least that's the impression that I get when I look at it. So let's take a look at some things that you can do to affect your budgets. And let's start with the simplest and most basic, and that is 12% taxes across the board. Often I forget to turn these up in the first place. I certainly forget to turn them up once high density is unlocked. You unlock high density residential, commercial, and then office at the same level. Also around the time I think you upgrade, to or unlock metro. But definitely remember to set those to 12%. Some people say you can get away with 13 without pop-ups. I start to see people complain at 13. 12 is a nice sweet spot if you have the most basic city service coverage, for everywhere on your map. It doesn't have to be in the deepest green. We're talking about things like healthcare, police, fire. As long as there's some coverage, people will be relatively happy with that and totally fine paying 12% taxes. So that is step number 1 to us making money. Step number 2 is when we look at what people are paying for those taxes, they'll actually pay more based on the level of the building. So you can actually see and kind of click through on the income and expenses tab, see where kind of each one of your zones is bringing in money. So we're bringing in a ton of money on level 5 residential. Level 4, you can see that restriction right there is on a lot of the high density stuff. I don't know what we don't have set. That's interesting. What we don't have set to high-rise ban. So policies, city planning, high-rise ban. Bans high-rise buildings and restricts buildings from being upgraded to their highest levels. And the reason that we did that is over here. So if we inspect on these, I actually have these locked, right? They're historical buildings just to be safe. Did I mean to have one different building here? I mean, it kind of works. It almost acts as like an office for the apartments. And I wish it actually functioned that way, but you can see that like this is mixed zoning. Like that's a storefront below a bunch of apartments, and you would absolutely see that in real life. It doesn't work that way though in game. But the reason that I had the high-rise ban on was so that these don't upgrade, because I really like the look of these. And check back earlier in the series where I basically bulldozed these buildings a bunch of times until the level 4 one I wanted moved in. But the only way to do that is to let it move in, see what grows out of a level 4, and then bulldoze it if it's not what you want. In my case, I high-rise band again to prevent them from reaching their next top tier level, and also prevents them from getting too imposing on the skyline. I wanted a nice little apartment block complex there. But that is why when we look at economy and budget, a lot of our high density is limited to level 4. They're not going to level up any higher than that. If they did reach level 5, if we didn't have that restriction on them, they would be taller, they would support more families living inside them, and they would pay more in taxes. Now, I am interested to know if we go into info views and building levels. Okay, so where are our high density We've got some somewhere. I don't know where they are. I feel like those are those high-rise band Green Cities buildings, or are they not? I would think we would have gotten more budget from that, but that's okay. Where are we at school-wise? Trade school's making 26,000. Commercial-wise, we get a look. Our high density again is pretty limited in the fact that it's level 2. Not allowed to attain level 3, but it's also not allowed to grow into those really large buildings. Commercial of the low density variety, that's fine, doesn't get that big anyways. We're making $22.88 on organic and local produce. We have a very, very small section of that somewhere over here. I think Holly Park, there's a handful. There's a handful over here. This is kind of weird how this all lined up. Did I do this on stream? Did I do on recording? Did I put the trams back in? Because I'm second guessing myself now. This segment over here, a little different. We did the 4-lane streets with the trams. Can't remember if I did this on build, but this is what happens when I wait a week between episodes. Sorry, and thank you for tuning back in after the delay. But this, you can see, greatly alleviates a lot of traffic because it gets people moving up and down that strip via mass transit, and it completely eradicated the red traffic over here. So doing really good on this side of the map. A little slow over here, but there is a lot happening in this small space. Where we have traffic, it's actually creeping and crawling over here in our industrial zone. And then a little bit over here by our other industrial pocket. But it's not too bad. It's, it's moving. And if you look at it, it looks okay. It looks pretty good. Over here, things are a little slower, and I might kind of rebuild this just to kind of talk about how we can make some improvements. I like to stagger the exits where I can. So if you do a right-hand exit and then a left-hand exit, cars aren't going to be piling up, all trying to get off the highway in the right lane, and will naturally kind of zigzag and zipper the traffic back and forth. This is what polite drivers do. They give each other a chance. But that survival of the fittest proves that is a bad idea, especially if you're from Massachusetts. Gotta look out for yours first. Okay, so where can we look next? So, economy-wise, we're doing all right here. Again, we're not making all the money, but we're making some money, and it's a profitable city. Industry-wise, we can see that has leveled up to level 3. Offices, again, are restricted. And we've got, again, a handful. There's got to be just a couple buildings, a little pocket somewhere where I did not lock it down correctly with the zoning. So we're doing a little pocket of a traditional forestry, it looks like. And then warehouses and unique buildings are pulling in a little bit of cash as well. It's actually the most profitable out of those 3. Out of all of our industrial and office zoning, we're making more just on those specialized warehouse buildings, which we've got over here in kind of our wood garden and cargo area by the airport. This still needs an overhaul at some point. I want to kind of put the baseball stadium a little bit more off on its own. But I do like how this all shaped out with the new metro lines. It's not the most efficient, and if this is kind of Metro 1.5 right now, we're not finished upgrading it. You can kind of see where some of those tunnels go. And it's very much built around this idea of the hub that we talked about in one of the previous episodes. You know, we're moving a good amount of people through here, and you can see all those people that are getting off one metro station and then transferring to bus or transferring to the other metro station. In fact, there's a lot of foot traffic that just goes back and forth between those two metro lines. And essentially where that is kind of tying into right now is over to the other hub station, which, since it's connected to the train lines, is a way to get in and out of the city. Now, we are making some money on just transport in general. You can see actually Metro is the majority of that. We're pulling in some money from the airport, making a little bit of money from trams, and most of the money, it looks like, well, it's pretty close to Metro and monorail. So we looked at taxes. We can dive in more into budget. And if we're just, you know, spending more money than we need to for things like healthcare, fire coverage, police coverage, we can turn those down. Now, bus and intercity bus, we can kind of look through these. If we turn this down, there's less buses available in the city. If you increase that budget, residents are more likely to select an intercity bus when they travel outside of the city. I'm fine. Go to the airport. I don't care. I'm not spending more on the buses so that people can... I mean, then again, they'd be going to that central hub where all the traffic is, so that's not a bad way to unload it. We're not doing things like trolley bus, so it doesn't cost us anything. Raise the budget to have more trams available for your lines. So does that mean we can turn this down and we're just restricted to the maximum number that we can put on there? Let's see for a second. I guess let's mess with the trams for now. So if we drop the trams down to 50%, what does that do? How does that affect us? If we go into transport, tram lines, like I can still crank this vehicle modifier up. Does it even matter? I mean, I just deleted some lines or deleted some, we're at 100% on that line. So, I mean, maybe that's a way we can save some money. I would have to double check and really dive into that. I'm not sure how that really impacts things. But that would be kind of interesting. If you've done experiments with that and want to let me know, please do so, because that'd be really interesting to know kind of what impact that has. I'm, you know, for what it is, for saving what, $500, I'm just going to kind of leave it there. You can affect all of your city services. What is this for? Post office. We're not spending any money on it anyways. We're spending a little bit of money on tours and taxi. The hangar, blimp depot, and helicopter depot can house more vehicles with higher funding. So the helicopter depots are nice because that provides some police and a lot of fire coverage to our city. So maybe I won't tempt fate and reduce that budget, but unique buildings and museums can create more happiness and increase city attractiveness with more funding. We're spending an awful lot of money on that. Like, what if we cut that down to 75%? You know, we're spending what, $24,000 right now? I think, what if we back out? What if we let it play for a second and then go back in? Does that refresh? Does that update? Should we let like a full week go by? I don't even know. I should know these things, but me not knowing is sometimes the journey. That doesn't seem to be affecting things. You know, how much does it affect happiness at this point? I don't really know. I don't think a whole lot. 100% residential happiness, 97% office, 97% industrial. We're doing really good there. You know, maybe we keep an eye on and see if that dips down at all. I don't know what it is about my builds. I don't have good commercial happiness, and maybe that's because I just focus them on the main drags that have all the noise. But I don't think they are directly bothered by it, but maybe ultimately it does affect citizen happiness. Haven't taken out a loan in a while. I mean, it's free money that's sitting there, but it costs you to pay it back. So we'll leave that. What I do want to talk about is some policies and just a couple things that you can do to potentially help your city depending on what problems it's having. You know, things like power usage cost per building to upkeep, but they also reduce electricity. So, you know, if it's between buying the next expensive power plant and maybe taking that hit by, you know, reducing electricity consumption for a cost per building, it might work out. Same thing with water usage. Smoke detector distribution. This didn't used to cost when I first started playing the game. They added a cost. I'm sticking with it. But we could save a little bit of money if we wanted a few more fires. I get plenty of fires. I don't need more. So we're not going to save money on that one. Now, things like recycling do reduce tax income, right? But it also reduces garbage accumulation. So, you know, you'll need more trucks. You'll have more people complaining. If you wait too long to pick it up, again, it's a concession you could make. I'm not going to make that myself. Now, we could bring in more people to our parks and increase land value, but land value is already maxed out thanks to the Eden project. So again, not something that I'm going to worry about in this particular case. Now, education boost is something that we could look at, and I wish there was a direct correlation to like how much this affected your overall budget, right? If it just showed you right here, but it does increase the budget by 25%. So look at your budget and add on top, I guess. Recreational use, we're not touching that just because. But what are some of these other things, right? You know, insulation for heat, we don't need to worry about that on the non-snowfall map. Helicopter priority doesn't cost us anything. It's more of a per district type setting. District. Didn't enunciate my T there at the end. You know, we could go the route of high ticket prices if we wanted to raise more money, but it could result in less passengers. Let's take a look at something though. I want to run a quick little experiment today. So traffic is at 90%. You can see where it is at, right? We'll hover right here. Let's go into policies. Let's turn on high ticket prices, okay? So this is going to increase prices by 25%. Let's see what it does to our budget. Let's pause real quick. Wrong view. Let's see what it does to our budget and what it does to our traffic and see if you can notice any changes. I'll be right back. All right, well, I think that's good enough for an impromptu experiment. Our traffic's still at 90%. I feel like the traffic here, got worse all of a sudden at this particular intersection, but I feel like that could also be something going on with this truck just parked there, blocking the road, despawning cars. Get out of here, donut truck, dude. Thank you. Okay, watch. All of a sudden, traffic's moving right along. This car's super confused. What is going on? What is going on with that car? It was like it was trying to turn. Somebody saw that. What is happening here? Come on. So maybe the high ticket prices will cause a little bit of backup. We could also look at, you know, what we're doing here at this intersection. I mean, maybe we stoplight this. That could help a bit. But at the end of the day, if it's not backing up to the next intersection, it doesn't bother me as a mayor. This bothers me. Enough of this. Come on. Come on. Here come the fire trucks. Yeah, great. There's 2 fire trucks. Now there's a 3rd fire. By the time the 3rd one gets here, there'll be a 4th. We didn't touch smoke detector policy. This is just my luck. Will they walk all the way over there? That was weird. Anytime you want to come over here and put that one out, that would be awesome. So let's not economy, policies over here. So we were working through some of these. We'll see long term if that does cause some traffic backups. If it's not, you know, again, this is a positive. What is the word I'm looking for? We're in the green. We're making money. Positive revenue, right? So we're recycling. Costs a little bit of money per recycling center though, so I don't think that adds up a whole lot. We did drop in a couple extras just to help with some of the delivery. You know, and a lot of these will spend money to make money. We need an algae farm. We need an inner city bus station for that. Okay, whatever. City planning. These are kind of essential, these first 3 here. So you should probably have these turned on no matter what. They do have a cost per building to upkeep, but it was a little trick that somebody turned me on to, and I can't remember. And usually when that's the case, it was Casino. So let's go with Casino told me about these. So small business enthusiast, big business benefactor, and industrial space planning. a small upkeep per building. So 2, 4, and 6 per building. But what it does, low density commercial buildings double their sales. High density commercial buildings double their sales. And doubles the amount of goods produced by zoned industry buildings. So they make, or they pay tax revenue on what they do. So if they're doubling their businesses, in theory, they're doubling their taxes for a small upkeep cost. So absolute no-brainer. Definitely turn those on as soon as you unlock them. Now, things like high-tech housing can matter much more earlier on. They matter a little bit less now. And again, this is something to do with the Eden Project. So let's take a look at that real quick. What does Eden Project do? Well, Eden Project, where is it? It's right here on the downtown. It makes the city more beautiful and it reduces pollution. So that's the first effect that is so cool about this, is that we are at 0 and 0 ground and drinking water pollution. If you have an industrial area in your map, you know how filthy it is. And here, you know, the trees are vibrant and green. Unless we put them like right next to a building, and then it might look a little shaky. But actually, that's not bad. It really does reduce all of the pollution out of the area. You can see a little bit like on the buildings itself. So like recycling plants, for example, technically the buildings are polluted, but it does not spread to the ground. It does not spread to the water. When you combine that with, have we ever upgraded our sewage treatment plants? By the way, that does not look like an upgraded sewage treatment plant. That looks like a regular water treatment plant. So we could do the eco versions of that to reduce it even more. Water system upgrades coming soon. Wrong tool. Info views. So pollution reduction is a big part of that. But what comes along with less pollution? Well, increased land value. And being in that bright green chartreuse, right? Being in that chartreuse edge of the high zone of the legend there means that the land value is worth more. Taxes are worth more for buildings that move into that space. So basically anywhere the map touches is where Eden Project has effect. You can see it trails off pretty fast on the edge of the zone that it does not affect. In our case, though, we can't even build there, so we don't even care. Stop with the fires. Oh my God. Okay. You're coming? You're coming. Okay, they got that. Oh, geez, again. Come on now. Get here before it spreads, please. Is this still going over here? Is this a different... This is a fire episode. Lots of stuff going up. So the nice thing about the Eden Project is that it affects those two things, pollution and land value. We were looking at policies, city planning, and high-tech housing. So this is a cost per building that slightly increases the land value. Do we need this right now? No. Will we keep it? Sure. But that could free us up a little bit of money. I'm pretty sure, though, if I turn that off map-wide, that the high-tech housing goes away and all the buildings start over again and it moves all our people out. So, well, hey, you know what? I'm pretty sure. Let's be sure. Let's save and let's find out. High-tech housing. What happens if we turn that off? Do people move out? Does it make us more money? Does it not matter at this point? Well, maybe we let that run for a minute and keep an eye on our population. We're at 52,000. We're losing some people, but it's not the end of the world. High-rise ban. This absolutely, if you turn that on to a building that's already leveled up, will knock that building down. So be careful of that one. Encourage biking. Now, all this doesn't have a direct impact on our budget. It does mean that we have to have a little bit less traffic on the roads, which means we have to have a little less reliance on things like mass transport. So the less transport lines we have to have, the more money we're making. Now, some of these can be insanely expensive for your city. So if you want to go with an all-green city and want electric cars, that's fine. Man, does that get expensive fast. I don't think I have a city where that's working, but when I revisit Rosewood, which was our green city, I will totally take a look at that. Now, one of the reasons we're able to maintain such low pollution is that we are doing filter industrial waste, but that does have a cost associated with it. So there's always a knock-on effect, but it costs. Or it helps you make money at a cost. So, there's always an up and down to most of these policies. So experiment with them, see what works. Just because it works for me in my builds doesn't mean your cities are set up the same way. And I think that's one of the biggest things, right? Is you got to kind of test and run things and see what happens. Hopefully nothing breaks here with the removal of high-tech housing. I don't think it's going to impact. Jeez, I feel like we're making a lot more money now. Now that we're not spending money to make everybody's houses high-tech to increase land value that was already maxed out, I think we're doing pretty good here. Except for all the fires. Come on now. All right. I keep jumping back into policies. That's what I want. So taxation's an interesting one, right? There's, tax raises for specific densities, tax relief. I don't mess around with these too much. I don't see the point. You're setting the tax rate for these individually. It makes sense to have things like offices or, leisure, specific subzoning within those types of zones. But I don't know. I never mess around with those. Let me know if you've had success. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, one thing we could look at is adding some tolls to our city. If people are going to take cars in anyways, we could charge them for that privilege. That's part of the industry's free update. So when industries came out, that functionality came to the base game. You don't need any of the DLC to do that. Though, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that's not a capability on Switch, but it would be a capability on base game across PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Again, if I'm incorrect on that one, Switch users, please let me know, but I don't think you can do tolls on that platform. Where could we? I mean, we could toll right here, but this would kind of slow things down on the highway, I bet. Do we have an exit that's a little bit further in? And are people going to avoid the tolls on purpose and go to another exit? I don't know. Let's do this. Let's get one in over here. We'll leave this segment immediately from the fork. And then let's delete, 2. So if we do the same thing over here, we'll go over to roads, and all the way on the last tab is our toll booth. So we've got a couple different options here. There's a 2-way toll booth. We don't need that. There's a 1-way toll booth, and then a large variant of each of those. So let's do this. Let's see. Man, that doesn't even fit right there. Okay, let's get rid of that and get rid of that and see how we can hook these up. Kind of get it to line up with where we're going. Right? Is that... Yeah, that's correct. Okay. And then like so. So that for a 2-lane exit is probably a lot more than we needed. Should we just fix that right now? Is that too terrible? Hold on a second. Just like with 1-way roads, make sure these are facing the right direction. Otherwise, they won't be very effective. Do that and that. That makes a little bit more sense aesthetically. So back over to highways. We'll drop this in here. I don't want to hook out more than it needs to connect to there. That's better. So we'll just reverse that now. So traffic coming in, traffic going out. And let's see what this actually does to traffic here, because it does slow it down just a little bit. But is it a detriment to the highway? Probably not. The highway is, the exit's way back there, so that's not going to slow anything down. I don't think, where it will hurt things. Looks like that should be fine. And it's a little bit of money for every car that comes through there. We could repeat that process, at each one of these on and off ramps. Charge people for getting in and out of the city. I'm reluctant to do it here, because I feel like that might slow things down a little too much. But it might also spread out some of the traffic coming into the zone, which ultimately, will slow down what's happening here, cause hopefully less backup. I don't know. It could be bad. It could be good. Experiment is key. We just won a game, and based on where it's radiating out from, fire a basketball arena. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, look at all. Hold on a second. Let's get down there. Walk on foot. Mascot is here. Are we at 3 times speed? We are. We'll make people look a little bit more normal here. So, city planning, automated tolls. So this reduces toll booth income to speed people through a little faster. So you could have the best of both worlds. Charge some tolls, but maybe don't slow it down as much. Get the easy pass thing going. So where's everybody going? Are they all... Ooh, they're all cutting through this park. We should probably charge them there. And then they're all coming up here to the metro, because I moved the metro stations around. Some of them are walking back up into the city, it looks like. So it's a good thing that I've got this this footpath through here. Look at that. Look at all the people. That's crazy. When the game lets out, it is a lot of traffic. It's also a lot of tax income. For people coming in and out of the city or using metro, walking through the parks. So we could look at that. All these people willing to go this way to the station, we could charge them a park fee just for taking that shortcut that they wanted to take already. They're going to path to the shortest path possible. For cars, that means generally following highways. If it's the same distance, I can travel faster on a highway. And pedestrian roads or pedestrian paths are the exact same principle for people walking around. It's built into the game logic. That road has a faster speed limit. Even though it's just a pedestrian path, technically they can walk faster on there, so they're more likely to take it because it's the quicker route. If it's relatively close, the same distance, that's a more appealing route. So that's one of the ways you can trick them out into using those park paths, a la how we did over here at the bus station, right? The only way to get there on foot, well, I guess you could do it from the metro station, but the only way to get there on foot from this area is to go through that park, because this is highway. Highways don't have sidewalks. So no way for the pedestrians to go there. They have to path through here. And they pay us a little money to do it. So it's a little cheeky cheat, if you will, but it works. There's lots of little ways that you can make money in your city, depending on how much you want to micromanage it. Certainly, there's lots of ways you can make money with things like for-profit education at your universities, but especially if you focus on the industries DLC. If you want to make a lot of money for your city, really get a functioning industry that's well-balanced in there, maybe a couple, and watch the bucks roll in. Either way, we found out that this city was profitable, and I found out by forgetting to turn off my Xbox and letting it run for literally over 24 hours. And then coming back. The only problems I had were, a couple complaints about garbage, and the cemeteries had filled up. But I had enough crematory coverage that it wasn't really causing a death wave. There was, a couple pop-ups here and there, but what are you going to do? Cemeteries were full. Give me a break. I slept apparently for 50 years. So now that we're in the 2100s, this is my oldest city. Let me know in the comments, what is your oldest city? And what are some of your favorite tricks for making money? And do check out the comments, because there's some gems that I learn in the comments. So leave your own little gems there. See what other people are leaving behind for tips and tricks. There's some good stuff in there. Awesome community. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Speaking of, likes, comments, shares, they all help the channel, and they are all so greatly appreciated. If you're new here, subscribe for more, and consider hitting the bell to get notifications for updates in this and other series. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the links in the description down below. We'll see how many in-game years have passed between now and the next episode. Probably less than last time, but I don't know. I might forget to turn it off again. You never know. Tune in to find out. Until the next one, Move the Mouse, signing off.